Picture this. A seasoned Aikido master, calm and serene, faces a muscular MMA fighter at the peak of his career. The crowd laughs, expecting a quick and brutal end. But as the fight begins, the unexpected happens. The old master moves with an almost ethereal grace, and in a split second, the MMA fighter is airborne. Is this just a martial arts fantasy, or could it actually happen? Let's find out. In today's video, we're diving into a debate that's been brewing in martial arts circles for years. Can the ancient art of Aikido stand up to the modern world of mixed martial arts, MMA? Let's get into it. What makes Aikido unique? Aikido, founded by Morihei Ueshiba in the early 20th century, is much more than a fighting style. It's a philosophy, a way of understanding harmony in both conflict and life. At its core, Aikido means the way of the harmonious spirit. Unlike many martial arts that pit strength against strength, Aikido teaches its practitioners to blend with their attacker's energy, redirecting it in ways that can neutralize a threat efficiently. However, don't let this emphasis on harmony fool you. Aikido is filled with powerful techniques that, when applied correctly, can incapacitate opponents quickly and effectively. On the other side, MMA brings to mind a fusion of techniques: powerful punches, swift takedowns, and relentless ground-and-pound tactics. At first glance, Aikido's flowing, circular movements seem worlds apart from the explosive, aggressive style of MMA. But here's where things get interesting. Some MMA fighters have found ways to incorporate Aikido's principles into their repertoire, sometimes with surprising results. Aikido in action, the surprising crossovers in MMA. Let's look at some real-life examples. Anderson Silva, one of the greatest UFC champions, was known to have trained in Aikido. If you watch his fights closely, you'll notice elements of Aikido in his elusive footwork and his ability to redirect his opponent's energy to his advantage. And he's not alone. There have been instances where Aikido techniques, such as wrist locks and throws, have been effectively applied in MMA, even with the limitations imposed by gloves. For example, in a lesser-known MMA bout, an Aikido practitioner managed to apply a perfect wrist lock, catching his opponent completely off guard. Despite the usual restrictions of MMA, this technique worked remarkably well, demonstrating how traditional Aikido movements can still be effective. This brings us to an important point. The value of Aikido in MMA doesn't lie in replicating dojo techniques. Instead, it's about applying Aikido principles, like blending, redirecting, and unbalancing within the high-paced, full-contact context of MMA. And when executed properly, these techniques can be unexpectedly effective. Stories of Aikido defying the odds. There are countless stories that show Aikido's surprising potential in combat sports. One particularly compelling tale involves a one-armed Aikido master facing a seasoned MMA fighter. It seemed like a mismatch of epic proportions, yet the Aikido master used his single arm with remarkable efficiency, controlling the clinch and even taking the fight to the ground. His deep understanding of balance and leverage allowed him to overcome his physical disadvantage, proving that Aikido's core principles can help turn the tide in seemingly impossible situations. Aikido may not be about raw power, but its adaptability to various combat scenarios makes it incredibly versatile. It's not just about flashy throws or graceful movements. It's about mastering body mechanics, balance, and energy manipulation. This applies whether you're wearing traditional robes or fighting shorts. Ground combat and the art of adaptation. When it comes to ground combat, many people think Aikido practitioners would be at a severe disadvantage. However, Aikido's fundamental principles of using an opponent's energy against them can still apply. While Aikido doesn't offer the same submissions as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, its emphasis on leverage and balance can make practitioners tricky to pin down or control. And let's not forget Aikido's joint locks. While certain locks are illegal in MMA, the foundational ideas behind them are still applicable. For instance, an Aikido-trained fighter might use subtle wrist controls during clinch exchanges or apply pressure on the elbow to create openings for strikes. The real advantage of Aikido in MMA. One of Aikido's most underrated advantages is its focus on spatial awareness and the ability to read an opponent's intentions. In the chaos of an MMA fight, being able to anticipate and react to an opponent's movements could be a game-changer. Imagine an MMA fighter rushing in for a takedown, all speed and strength. The Aikido practitioner, calm and centered, shifts his weight just right, extends an arm, and the next thing you know, the MMA fighter is on the ground, stunned and confused. But let's be realistic. Aikido, like any martial art, has its limitations. It's faced skepticism, with some dismissing it as too soft or questioning its effectiveness against resisting opponents. And to be fair, traditional Aikido, with its cooperative training, can sometimes seem ill-suited for the no-holds-barred environment of MMA. Bridging tradition with modern combat. However, Aikido is evolving. Some practitioners are working to bridge the gap between traditional Aikido and the demands of modern combat. Jason DeLucia, for instance, is known for creating combat Aikido by blending Aikido with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kung Fu, and Taekwondo. His hybrid approach has proven that with the right adaptations, Aikido techniques can find a place in MMA. Then there's Dan the Wolfman. Theodore, who combined Aikido with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling, creating a unique grappling style that has caught opponents off guard. He even managed to pull off an Aikido wrist roll in a professional catch wrestling match, an unexpected move that worked to his advantage. These innovators demonstrate that Aikido doesn't have to stand alone. It can be effectively combined with other martial arts to create a more versatile and comprehensive fighting style. Aikido's pop culture ambassador, Steven Seagal. Of course, we can't discuss Aikido without mentioning Steven Seagal. Love him or hate him, Seagal has undeniably played a massive role in popularizing Aikido worldwide. His movies brought Aikido into the mainstream, inspiring many to learn the art. Beyond the screen, Seagal's contributions are notable. He became the first foreigner to run an Aikido dojo in Japan, and his teachings often focus on the more direct and assertive aspects of Aikido. Interestingly, his influence even extended into the MMA world. Lyoto Machida credited Seagal for helping him master a front kick that knocked out Randy Couture at UFC 129. Conclusion: can Aikido make it in MMA? So, can Aikido hold its own in MMA? The answer isn't straightforward. Traditional Aikido might struggle in a modern MMA arena. However, the principles behind Aikido, when adapted and integrated with other martial arts, can provide a unique and valuable edge. What do you think? Could Aikido become a new force in MMA? Or is it better suited for its traditional roots and cinematic showcases? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the world of martial arts.